Hello, everybody. Welcome to Stellar Entrepreneur Show at Womenlines. This friends, Stellar Entrepreneur Show is there to inspire you from our conversation with some successful entrepreneur who is from different part of the globe. And today we are having somebody from Australia, international radio and TV host, best-selling co-author, speaker, and visionary, Toni Lontis. She has quietly entered the entrepreneurial world in 2019, post publication of her memoir, Resilience. After 35 years in nursing, from clinical practice to running her own nurse consultancy company, Toni wanted to write a book. She wanted to talk about what it takes to heal from dysfunction and trauma in her own life to create a heart centered impact and help heal others. With the publication of the book, came the audiobook production, and Toni was introduced to the power of the spoken word. A chance conversation led to an American media company meeting, and Radio Toni was born. From these humble beginnings grew a love of interviewing businesses and people about life, business, and universe. Her intuitive interview style has taken the world by storm. Toni now has multiple live streaming TV radio shows and a series of co-hosted business shows on different platforms based in US and broadcasting to the world. She has just launched Everyday Women's Network TV, a global TV platform just for women. Welcome, Toni, at Womenlines Show.
Thank you so much. What a lovely introduction.
My pleasure, Toni, and thanks for your time. We are so looking forward to learn from your experience because this show is all about sharing the success stories and inspire many women across the globe who have big dreams, but they lack knowledge and they lack those nuggets of tips, which I'm sure your sharing might help them to achieve success in life. So, yes,
Oh,
please
thank
share
you.
about your success, about the business, and about yourself as a person.
So I guess I have to go back just a little. In the introduction, you talked about my nursing career. So I spent 35 years in nursing. Across all levels, from clinical to coordinating statewide networks for maternity and neonatal surgical anesthetics.
Oh,
And then I went into my own consulting firm and I traveled across Australia preparing day surgeries and small hospitals to meet the national safety standards in an auditing and prepping role. And over that time and in the intervening years, I'd had a lot of trauma and dysfunction in my life and a background of having a big battle with depression and anxiety. And by the time I got about 10 years into that journey of learning, healing, and self-discovery, I was encouraged to write a book. And as I did that, I kind of didn't have a plan. I just thought I'd write a book, it'd be a bestseller, and I'd travel around the world speaking. That was a very naive idea, but that's kind of what I thought. And what happened is actually something quite different. And I often talk about the universe leading us and intuitively following where the universe leads.
mm,
And the year that I published the book, I made the decision that I was going to say yes to all things that terrified me.
wow.
And so I did that. And I started to build my social media networks. And for me at the time, I'm still very introverted, but I was even more shy, more introverted then. I was born with a congenital facial defect, which meant that the left side of my face was permanently paralyzed and I couldn't smile, and I didn't like photos, and I didn't like to be with people that I didn't know or who didn't know me. So writing the book was really stepping out of my comfort zone, then deciding that that same year I was going to say yes to things that terrified me was also quite confronting. But there's some freedom to be gained in just saying yes, no matter how petrified you are. And as I started to build those social media networks and then went on to produce the audio version of the book, I had to be convinced to narrate it myself. I was petrified and too scared
Yeah.
to do that myself. But the producer kept coming back to me and saying, "You need to do it. It needs to be in your voice. It's your story." And I finally gave in. And she said, "I'll hold your hand and we'll get through this together." And so I did that. And surprisingly, at the end of that process, it was very cathartic, and there were lots of tears. And there was the realization that there was something different about writing versus speaking the words that you've
Right.
written. And at the end of that, she sort of sat me down and said, "Toni, there's something about your energy and your voice and your story. I think you should be in media." And I said, "No way. That's never going to happen. This is enough for me. Just narrating my book was enough for me." Anyway, to cut a long story short, I ended up on a US live streaming radio platform,
Okay.
which is just audio only without video. I did that, and then I started to tentatively interview people. And as I progressed, people started to say lovely things about the questions I asked and the space that I gave them and the feeling that they got being interviewed. And I thought, well, maybe I could do this as a living. And that's how things evolved. It segued into um, two shows of my own. At other times I've had various multiple shows, more than two. It segued into doing co-hosted series of shows
Mhm.
with business owners, brands, authors, to talk about them and their journey. Most of the time, and the reason why I started doing the co-hosted shows was that people are scared to do things by themselves, and I knew that underneath each person is a unique story and unique wisdom and unique knowledge, and I'm just the conduit that helps them get that message out to the world. So from there, I developed my own channel on Binge Networks USA, Hero Go, Zondra TV Networks, etc., etc. And then this year, we've just launched Everyday Women's Network, which is Netflix for women. So
Oh,
female-centric content, um, providing a media platform for women only, to provide alternative views and raise the voices and the profiles of women across the world. And that's it. That's me in a nutshell. And I think the journey of all of that is actually equally important. It's the person you become on the other side, Jeru, once you've
very
been
true.
through all of that.
Very true. Amazing, superbly powerful, inspirational sharing, Toni. So we are learning so many things from you. Friends,
Oh,
take a
thank
note.
you.
If you have some physical challenge, you cannot stop yourself from achieving your dreams. It was a wonderful day for you when you said, okay, you will be coming out of your comfort zone, Toni, and that day changed your life. Same way it can happen with anybody. It's all about
Definitely.
pushing oneself
Mm,
to come out of the comfort zone and take that big step. And then the
mm,
journey starts, and the beautiful journey starts, which will help you to achieve your dreams. Plus, she
absolutely.
was having her own limiting beliefs. So we have to work upon our limiting beliefs. We have everything with
Absolutely.
ourselves and we have to work upon
Mm,
it. And here we go. We are having Toni, who has come up with such a wonderful network for women, and it's like a Netflix for women. And do reach out to her to share your voice, which you want to share with the globe. And it's amazing journey, Toni, you have shared, and I'm sure this is going to inspire many. So, Toni, what are the three most important habits of being a successful entrepreneur? You want to share with us?
So, when I was thinking about answering this question for you in the prep before the interview, I think there's a piece around believing enough in yourself to push yourself outside that comfort zone. And there's something about living just outside your comfort zone. And so for the audience, I spent the first 6 months of my radio show being physically sick before I got behind that microphone.
Oh,
But something just kept me going and going and going, and I kept doing it, and I sort of got more comfortable. Now, there's still days, Churu, when I don't want to get behind the microphone. I don't want to get behind the camera. But in those moments, often amazing things happen, amazing connections form. And one of those things that I learned was if you don't do or follow the path that you're meant to, someone else misses out. So people can only hear their messages in a certain way and from certain people. So if you don't do what you're meant to do, those people don't ever get that opportunity to
true.
hear that nugget of wisdom that takes them to the next level. So that's what forges me forward. The other thing is around, which is a part of that is living outside your comfort zone. The other part of that is consistency.
Yes.
Just keep going. Take a deep breath, have moments where you melt down, have moments where it's like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. And just keep going and just keep going and just keep going. Yeah.
Beautiful share. Consistency, I love that part which you have mentioned. That is the key for any entrepreneur to be successful because that only helps in growing the business. And that requires lots of self-work, which I think it comes with practice. So don't stop, ladies. Learn from Toni and move ahead. So as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you're so motivated, but still there must be times when you have faced challenges. Want to share what are the biggest challenges you faced and how you overcame?
Um, uh, for me, the number one has been around mindset and lack of belief. So in talking to your audience, I can't stress enough the importance of your mindset and the way that you speak to yourself and the way you care for yourself. So, from my background, I didn't learn about self love or self care until I was in my late 40s. So, ladies, if you're listening, please don't do that. So that's one of the key challenges for women, I think, is that self-belief, the mindset, and backing yourself. So for me, all of those things were a challenge. All of those things were an immense challenge for me. And from an entrepreneurial perspective, when you first start up, that cash flow and believing in yourself enough to keep the cash flowing, to keep going to what's next and what's next and what's next. And then finally, it's about surrounding yourself with other amazing people.
Yeah,
So I'm connected to beautiful women like Sharu and many other women across the globe. And it's taken a while to open myself up to those connections, but those women in particular and those people, they will keep you going when things are tough, and things will be tough. You have to, not everything's going to be filled with ease and grace. That's
very
not the
true.
way it goes.
Very
And
true.
so those tough times, you need to be able to reach out to beautiful friends like Sharu and go, "Ooh, today was tough," and they lift you up and help you keep going.
Wonderful share. It makes so much sense. Your inner circle, that is so much important for any entrepreneur
Mhm,
because that is something which will like be like oxygen to you to get that
mhm,
refreshing energy again and start again.
mhm.
So amazing tips, I must say, Toni, you have mentioned. And I love the part when you have shared how you're communicating to self, because that self-communication also is the key
Oh,
how you're
so
growing and how you're
important.
changing your mindset. So thanks for sharing wonderful tips. I would love to know more about your company. What makes your company stand out from all other businesses in this niche?
So for me, my company is called Everyday Women's Business, PTLYTD, and that name actually came to me in 2017 when I was on a women's retreat doing some more self-discovery and healing work. And I'd done a long day in lectures, and I'd come up to my room and they'd been talking about business, and the words everyday women's business came to me, and I actually registered the company right there and then.
Oh,
I had no idea
mm,
where that would go. So I think that the vision behind Everyday Women's Business is important, because I believe that women will change the trajectory of the world in the next decade. I believe that women have the solutions to some of the biggest problems that we face
very
across the
true.
globe. And part of my vision is to help raise the voices of women. There are amazing men. Don't get me wrong, there are fabulous, beautiful, wonderful men, but we're not on an even playing field yet. And until we have an even playing field, I'm going to champion women first and foremost.
Wow.
So I guess that's something that stands out. So Everyday Women's Business led to the Everyday Business Show, which has now led to the Everyday Women's Network. So it's about a vision and a mission. And someone said to me the other day, the key difference is that you're at the helm, Toni, not someone else. This is your vision, and people connect to you, and people love you. And I'm like, really? Because I don't, like, I'm just following a vision and following an internal drive and direction, and I don't see the rest of it. So I'm hoping that perhaps that's what makes my business
Yeah.
stand out, is that desire to lift women up.
Wonderful. I can resonate so much because at Women Lines, we're having same dreams, same passion. And I'm
Yes.
imagining globally, women get together, collaborate, and work together. I'm sure we can make this planet a much better place to live.
I have no doubt, Sharu, I have no doubt that there are women watching today who are thinking, oh, I don't think I could do that. I'm telling you, you can.
Yeah.
I am a middle-aged woman with a whole range of things going on outside what you see on the camera tonight. So if I can do it, so can you.
Beautiful.
Don't look and think that you can't.
Very true. It's just a
Just
matter
do
of
it.
changing the mindset. That's it.
Definitely, definitely.
Now, I want you to share some secrets of yours which help you to increase your work productivity whenever you are having some burnout. You want to give some tips to women across?
Absolutely. So for me, I'm fundamentally an emotional gal. So for me, the things that I need to do to keep myself going are around self-care. And
Okay,
quite honestly, I'm not always good at it. Yeah, I'm
okay,
not always good at putting myself or my needs first. So self-care is number one. And then the rest is that work around surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and
mhm.
then backing yourself as well.
Wonderful. Anything specific you do for self-care? Some
Yes.
habit?
So I it took a long while for me to work out how to meditate. So one of the first things I learned was about breath work. So
Okay.
back when the days were very dark and I was in the deepest, darkest throes of depression,
Mhm.
my psychologist actually and counselors actually taught me the importance of breath work. So those moments where you just don't know if you can get through the next hour, they would say in that moment, just breathe. Focus on breathing in and breathing out. And that's all you have to do
Beautiful.
for the next minute. And then you do it for another minute. And then you do it for 5 minutes. And then you do it for 15 minutes. And suddenly the world is lighter. You're feeling a little bit less stressed. and off you go. So breath work, absolutely, followed by meditation and morning rituals. Yeah, I'm sure you have lots of women who understand the importance of morning rituals. So for me, affirmations, meditation, journaling.
Wonderful. Take a note, friends. Don't take breathing for granted because that's a power tool which God has
Correct.
given us, and it can be magical if you believe in and do it with mindfulness. So take a note,
Definitely.
Dari. So yes, Tony, what was your most significant aha moment so far? Please share with us.
I think it was the moment, probably only in the last 18 months,
Okay.
where I thought, I can do this. So I'm
Oh,
a fair bit
wonderful.
down the track, but it was an aha moment for me to think, I can do this, and to
Wow.
really start to believe in myself. So up until that point, I wasn't quite sure. And then I'm like, I can do this. It's okay. I can do this. And that was a big aha to really go forward and change the motion and the flow of the business, so to speak.
I can so much relate to this because such moments become so special because you are talking
Mm-hmm.
about an idea and you have a big
Mm-hmm.
vision. And
Mm-hmm.
once you say to yourself that I can do it, the journey starts. So I'm sure that moment must be big for you. And here you are
It
with your
was.
uh, Everyday Women's Network. And yeah, it's amazing. Thanks for sharing
I have
about
to
it.
pinch myself sometimes still, though.
It's happening.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, wow, I've actually done that. Yeah,
Wonderful.
but
So my last question, just please share some message for Womenlines audience.
So what I would love to do, Sharu, is read, it's a famous quote and you'll know it when I read it, but I want to read it for the women today because I think this is important. It's called The Woman in the Arena. And it goes like this. It's not the critic who counts, not the woman who points out how the strong woman stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the woman who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust, sweat, and blood, and who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again. Because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, and who spends herself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if she fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that her place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
Wow, wonderful and powerful words. I must say that. Take a note, friends. Get loads of inspiration. What Tony has shared with us today. Share with your network because this should be reaching out to as many women across the globe. Thank you so much, Tony, for sharing such wonderful insights and sharing those tips with us. I wish you all the best. May Everyday Women's Network reach out to as many women across the globe. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much.